On a hot, sunny afternoon in Gainesville, Florida, the sound of engines and horns blared loudly on the busy Archer Avenue. A series of cars, trucks, and motorbikes rushed one after another on the hot asphalt, creating a bustling, noisy, and fast scene. In the chaos, an unexpected image appeared that made many people turn their heads in surprise and curiosity. A gray sloth with soft fur and sharp, curved claws slowly and carefully began its journey across the crowded road. Its small but sturdy feet gripped each patch of hot asphalt, step by step, slowly moving towards the other side, towards the inviting green forest. Despite the noise, dust, and heat radiating from the road, the sloth persisted, trying to move forward little by little, as a testament to patience and perseverance. Cars rushed past on both sides, honking continuously, as if challenging the slowness and weakness of this small creature. A few curious drivers rolled down their windows, honked their horns, and looked at the sloth with eyes filled with surprise and sympathy. On the sidewalk, pedestrians also stopped, unable to contain their worries, covering their mouths and uttering prayers for the sloth's safety. A woman could not control her emotions, shouting, "Oh my God, how can he cross the street this slow?" A little boy stood next to his mother, eyes wide open, pulling his mother's hand and pointing at the sloth, his eyes filled with surprise and delight. The sloth continued his journey step by step, even though the road was burning hot under his feet. He had gone nearly 2/3 of the way, but the danger was becoming more and more evident as the stream of cars continued to rush by. Suddenly, a car honked loudly, startling the sloth and stopping in the middle of the road, its body trembling with fear. A truck braked suddenly beside it, the sound of the tires screeching so tensely that all the witnesses held their breath. They seemed to stop breathing, their hearts beating fast, not knowing what would happen in the next moment. Fortunately, the driver managed to swerve to avoid the sloth, the truck narrowly escaped, and the danger temporarily receded. But the shock disoriented the sloth, making its steps more unsteady and precarious than ever. At this moment, police officer Daniel Carter, who was on duty regulating traffic nearby, immediately realized the dire situation. He ran quickly over, not hesitating to jump into the middle of the traffic to save the little sloth's life. Daniel approached the sloth slowly and gently, trying to keep a safe distance so as not to scare it further. He raised his hand to signal the vehicles to stop and give way, creating a safe space on the busy road. The cars gradually slowed down and stopped, creating an effective barrier to protect the sloth from the rushing traffic. A group of pedestrians gathered on both sides of the sidewalk, their eyes intently following every move of Daniel and the sloth. Daniel did not rush to hug the sloth right away because he understood that it needed to be free to control its own journey to reduce its fear. He patiently stood in front of the traffic, protecting and encouraging the sloth to move step by step towards the cool green forest. However, after a few tense minutes, the sloth could not bear it anymore. It turned its head and began to stagger back towards the original sidewalk. Daniel frowned, knowing that if it continued like this, the danger would be much greater. He slowly bent down, carefully reaching out to touch the sloth in a gentle and comforting way. The sloth started slightly, but did not resist the warm and trusting contact. With gentleness and firmness, Daniel held the sloth with both hands, keeping it from getting hurt. Its soft fur shook slightly to the rhythm of his heart's pounding. Daniel began to walk slowly, crossing the temporarily closed road under the admiring and cheering eyes of the people around him. Applause and whistles rang out from both sides of the road, spreading a warm and humane atmosphere. Many drivers stuck their heads out of the windows, smiling and admiring Daniel's brave and kind actions. Daniel held the sloth in his arms, walking towards the lush green forest on the other side of the road. The scent of moist soil and grass grew stronger with each step he took into the forest. Approaching the edge of the forest, Daniel stopped under the shadowy canopy. The rustling of leaves in the wind seemed to soothe peace. He held the sloth high, letting it choose a suitable place to cling to the tree trunk. The little sloth wiggled, its round eyes looking around cautiously and confusedly. After a few seconds of hesitation, it reached out and grabbed the sturdy tree trunk. Daniel watched closely, ready to assist if it had difficulty climbing. The sloth slowly climbed up the tree trunk, each step cautious and reserved. However, it just stood still on the low tree trunk, not climbing as high as everyone expected. Its brown eyes seemed to be directed to the other side of the road, its gaze filled with undescribable anxiety. Daniel sensed something was wrong, and an undescribable feeling of unease suddenly rose in his heart. He returned to the other side of the road where the sloth had begun his dangerous journey. Many curious people followed him, their eyes filled with excitement and anxiety. Daniel bent down, carefully observing each tall grass along the roadside. A gentle breeze blew, stirring the blades of grass as if to reveal some secret. Suddenly, a faint moan came from the bushes nearby, silencing everyone. Daniel gently parted the blades of grass and discovered a small creature, trembling, huddled close to the ground. It was a baby sloth, half the size of the mother sloth that had just passed by. The baby's tiny eyes were filled with fear and obvious fatigue. Its fur was soft but covered in dirt, its small trembling claws clinging tightly to the ground as if trying to cling to life. Daniel smiled gently, reaching out to carefully and warmly receive the baby sloth. The baby sloth curled up, seeking warmth and security in the palm of his hand. Once again, Daniel carried the baby sloth across the road, returning to the cool green forest on the other side. The sunset dyed the entire road golden, creating a scene filled with peace and hope. When approaching the tree where the mother sloth was waiting, a magical moment happened before everyone's eyes. The mother sloth let out a soft cry, opening her arms as if to embrace the surrounding space. Immediately, the baby sloth reached out to hug her mother's thick fur, looking for her loving arms. Mother and child hugged each other tightly, swaying gently like a sacred and profound mother-child love song. Daniel stood still, feeling a sweet and warm stream of emotions welling up in his heart. A few tears of happiness silently fell on the faces of those who witnessed that touching moment. The last ray of sunlight of the day penetrated through the canopy, covering the mother and child's soft fur with a shimmering golden light. The mother sloth gently bowed her head, lovingly touching her child's forehead as if to convey her love. The whole forest seemed to be quiet, as if to cherish this sacred and peaceful moment. Daniel took a few steps back, giving the mother and son some privacy so that their motherly love could be complete. He smiled contentedly, knowing that today's work was not just a task, but a priceless gift to life and nature.